So a few months back, I did a video reacting to 3 classic movies. That video had Jaws, The Godfather, and Ghostbusters, which I had never seen before that video. And I thought I'd bring back that series because I have 3 more films that I'm planning on watching soon, and I've never seen them before. So in this video, I will be giving you my first reaction to The Shining, Casablanca, and Goodfellas. So let's see how this goes. And of course, the first film that I am reacting to is The Shining. So previously, I've been kind of disappointed with Kubrick. I really like Paths of Glory, but I strongly dislike 2001: A Space Odyssey and Dr. Strangelove. So, didn't know what to expect. I thought it's a possibility I won't like The Shining because I didn't like 2001, but wow, this was definitely a great film. I'm not the biggest horror fan, but The Shining was fantastic. So much suspense, so many amazing scenes, and creepy images that are just like burned into my mind. Not necessarily a film I'll choose to rewatch because it's not really enjoyable, but wow, is it very well made and very suspenseful. Probably the scariest film I have ever seen to this point. And the music sure adds a lot to every scene. Like, I think the music helps it be a lot more powerful than it would be without, and the sound effects as well. Those add a lot to the experience. But yeah, overall, The Shining is great. So my first experience with it, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Great film, and this makes me motivated to see more Kubrick. So yeah. Alright, so I came back from watching Goodfellas. So what are my thoughts on it? That's a great film. To be honest, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just one of those films that does everything right, and there's not much to say other than that it's a perfect movie. It's basically a perfect movie. It just doesn't make mistakes. The cinematography is great. The acting is obviously great. I went from only seeing Joe Pesci in Home Alone to this, so that's a big transition between those movies. And in a 2.5-hour movie, it never drags. So yeah, just such a great film, and it was surprisingly funny at some points. Like, it was actually funny.
Funny how?
Now, it's not necessarily like a favorite movie, because it's just following these really bad people, and you don't really connect with the characters, you don't really sympathize with them or anything, so it's not like one of my favorite movies, but it might be one of the best movies. I don't know. So I'll give Goodfellas a 9 out of 10. It's not a favorite, but it is very good. And finally, I watched Casablanca, and that was not a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I didn't like that very much. I already know people are gonna accuse me of not being able to like really old classics. Like the other 2 I watched in this video are from the 80s or the 90s. People are gonna accuse me that I can't watch anything from before that. Well, that's just not true, because I love a lot of classics. 12 Angry Men, It's a Wonderful Life, Rope, Psycho, and all of those. Those are all some of my favorite films of all time, but I could not get into Casablanca. It's one of those classics that feels just as old as it is. Like, It's a Wonderful Life and Citizen Kane were made in the 40s, but they don't feel that outdated. Casablanca feels really old, and the acting, everything's just like old and outdated. I don't think it's that great anymore. Maybe it was back in the day. It probably was amazing when it came out, but everything's just so dull and outdated, and I just could not get into this movie. Just the story did not interest me, and the characters weren't very good. So this is a movie I would not recommend. I can say that I would recommend It's a Wonderful Life because it feels timeless. It doesn't, like, it's not outdated. It was way ahead of its time, and it doesn't feel that old when you watch it nowadays. It's still just as good as it was back then, but with Casablanca, it feels old, and I don't think a lot of people would like it. So, I'm gonna give Casablanca a 5 out of 10. Unfortunately, we had to end off this video on a movie that I'm disappointed by, but I really liked this batch of films. I really liked The Shining and Goodfellas. What are your thoughts on these 3 films? I'm sure a lot of you love all 3 of them. Share your thoughts in the comment section. I want to know, what are your thoughts on all 3 of these movies, and what is your favorite of the 3? I might say Goodfellas is my favorite of these 3 that I watched. I think Goodfellas is my favorite because it's about the same level as The Shining, but The Shining really creeped me out. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any more classics that you think I should do first reactions to, please give me recommendations in the comments section. I'd love to keep doing more of these videos, reacting to movies for the first time. It's pretty fun. And yeah, thanks for watching. This is Movie Micah signing off, and I'll see you next time.